Hi, everybody. You are listening to Judging Meghan with your host, Meghan Judge. I have never recorded this early in the morning in my entire 5 years of doing this. I thought there was like a sound something, but we're good. Ever. So if I'm off, Maddie, it's because I'm not a morning person whatsoever. I put on my Wise Beauty, like tinted, and they're not a sponsor, by the way, but I do love the Wise Beauty, like the tinted, like moisturizer. I put all my stuff on with like a skosh of makeup, but not a lot. So I just,
well,
if you're watching on YouTube, glowing. It's the lighting. And I'm very vain and my listeners know that. Okay. So I'm going to say the following, before I introduce my beautiful guest and her sidekick, by the way, because for the first time ever on my podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, we have a baby on a hip, which
so many firsts today.
We're all moms. I mean, a lot of my listeners, not we're all, but many of my listeners are moms. And if you want to go to YouTube and see the cutest baby that you have ever seen, if I still had ovaries and did not have a hysterectomy, I would want to have another baby because I still feel incomplete without my boy. Oh my God. Okay. So, this is what I'm going to say. I have my youngest is super into theater and acting and dancing and all the stuff that I was into as a kid. So this weekend I went and saw her in her performance. She was so cute. I was so proud of her. She loves the theater. At the end of the performance, you know, I was walking out and I was walking down this set of like concrete steps. And this woman, I kind of saw her and she like came up next to me and she didn't mean to push me, but she full on pushed me. And I went over a wall. Like I fell over a cement wall. And if you've ever fallen, Maddie, I'll ask you, if you ever like in your head know that you're about to take a fall and there's nothing you can do to get out of it. Like I knew I was falling over this wall. And in my head, I was like, all right, I'm just going to like go with it. I fell in front of there were a lot of people there. I fell in front of all of these people onto this like giant patch of grass. Thank God it was a patch of grass. Thank God. That's what I was thinking. It could have been really bad. So I fell into this patch of grass. And honestly, like something that I found, because I'm older than you in my old age, is that if this would have been like even 10 years ago, like I would have been so embarrassed and I would have probably just like, I don't even know what I would have done. I just stood up. I like wiped my like pants off and I just started laughing at myself and looked at, and my daughter, Ella, was like, we were just hysterically laughing. And all these people are like, are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm totally fine. Just walked away. I don't know if you're a female and you're listening, because we all struggle so much with insecurities as women. And I know I have my entire life struggled with like being in my own skin and being embarrassed if I say the wrong thing or getting obsessed with like, what do people think of me? And I will say that I'm starting to learn that I just don't care anymore. I really don't. And I mean, I'm sure I care about certain things and what people think of me, but that is one thing. Aging is not easy. If you're listening, you know. It's not easy to age. It's not easy when we're like getting older and we like feel like we're losing our looks or we're dealing with all these things. But I fell on my ass in front of a lot of people and I was totally fine with it. I walked away. I laughed. I was telling everyone I fell and they all laughed too. And that's my like little story for the beginning.
We've all been put here for a reason and we all deserve acceptance.
Judging Meghan with Meghan Judge.
I'm a trauma survivor from a really young age, and I have been diagnosed with complex PTSD in the past few years. I've been surrounded by death and abuse much of my life. I've been dragged through the mud and have been to the point of not wanting to go on anymore. Through my interviews with other survivors, I've learned that there is a way out. From recovering to surviving and thriving, we all have the strength to come out the other side.
You are listening to Judging Meghan.
Madi Murphy, a fellow Irish woman, I'm assuming, with the last name Murphy. We have the same coloring, everything. Madi Murphy, I'm so excited to talk to you today. Madi is an author, a mom who has her cute baby on her hip, and an astrologer. So welcome to the podcast, Maddie. Any thoughts on what I just said?
So many. First of all, as someone who grew up with the name the Boo Boo Queen, I think I won my klutziest award in like 8th grade. I fall so much. Like, I think I fall so much, and it really helps like just keep me humble. I'm like, you know what? Like, God bless you. That, when you describe that midair feeling, when you are mid-fall, it's like time slows down and you're like, this is just happening. Like I am no longer upright. I haven't fallen yet. And I'm just processing, for me, even more physically than the damage that I'm worried about. I'm like, this is just going to sting the emotions, the self-esteem, right? And I'm always been that person who has gotten up and I will laugh at myself. Literally no one, I live in New York City. I've fallen so many times and I look around like, I'm okay, everyone, don't worry. And everyone's like, literally, we are not paying attention to you. But I will always laugh it off. And I think when you're talking about this and like, I think aging and I just turned 40.
You're younger.
Yeah, so I'm 40.
You
so I'm not
literally look like you're in your 20s. I'm not kidding.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you the secret.
I'm going to tell you
the secret. First of all, she hasn't gotten Botox in like 3 years because I've been pregnant nonstop and nursing. Yeah. So I appreciate that. But, you know, one of the secrets to staying young is truly not giving a fuck, but giving a damn. Like when you were talking about that, I'm like, we got to learn what is and is not worth our energy, the stress, the wrinkles. And some stuff is, like some stuff we do care about, but a lot of it. And I credit my dad, who's a chaotic Gemini Leo combo. He really taught me just to question everything. And I actually talk about this a little bit in one of the chapters of my book of just like so much stuff that we worry about. It's like, who says who, why does it matter? What, like everyone looking around you hasn't fallen. Maybe they haven't fallen over a brick wall before because that is kind of a unique experience.
It's kind of funny. Yeah.
It's kind of funny. And also you landed on the grass. You have this amazing crew. Like your kids are like hyping you up and laughing. You're like, I'm good. Like you wish you could fall and like be this graceful as I am. And like, I just think that it's such a metaphor in life for like, we think that we're supposed to be like presenting like perfectly all the time. But like the best moments in our life, like if I were there, I would have laughed so hard, picked you up, made sure you were okay, not hurt, but just been like, I've so been there. And like, can we be friends? Because I just love the way you handled that situation.
I mean, it is an interesting thing, but go backwards, and then we're going to talk about, you know, other things, obviously. But the aging process, it is an incredible thing. I mean, to me, 40 is young because I'm older than you are, and I had my kids like a little bit later too. And so I think having kids later, by the way, keeps you young as well.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm banking on that.
No, I'm telling you, because I feel like I was always like, oh, like I can keep up with all the youngsters. And so that's one thing, but it's also like, I don't know what it is. It's a gift, I think, getting older. And I never really like realized it because I've really fought getting older. I remember even being 25 as like young and thinking, oh my God, because I moved to LA to be an actress. I'm so old. Like I'm so this, I'm so that. Like I might as well throw in the towel now. And seriously, I'm not kidding.
A lot. You are literally a baby. Like 25
you are a baby. But in my head, I was like, why am I even here? I would go to auditions and there were girls like that were like 18 and I was the old lady. So I think that I've always fought like the aging process so much that to finally be in a place where I'm like, yeah, like I don't love getting older, but I do love the fact that it can trip and fall or do a lot of things and be fine with it, you know? And so that's great. Okay. So we are going to talk about astrology. And here's the thing for my listeners, for you. I have done almost 5 years of podcasts. I do all different topics relating to health and fitness, aging. And some of them are maybe not your cup of tea if you're listening. Maybe you don't believe in astrology. I personally do. I don't know enough about it. And so I was like, this would be an incredible way for myself and all of my listeners to learn about it because I don't understand it. I've done episodes on numerology. I've done episodes on all different kinds of things. So I just would love for you to talk about how astrology has come into your own life. You talked about it like as a kid, I think you brought up in the beginning with your dad. And then how all of us, and we'll talk about your book as well, can kind of learn to understand astrology and how it can impact your life. So let's start there.
Let's start there, Meghan. I love it. Well, thank you for having me on. And I love getting to add to like the beautiful tapestry of teachers and tools that you share on here. And I do believe that like nothing is one size fits all. So I'm just going to say, take what resonates here, leave the rest. I'm never here to like, push something down someone's throat. It's like, but hopefully there's something in this conversation that you can walk away with and just feel a little bit more you, a little bit more comfortable in your skin, understanding the world a little bit more. And I think that is what, astrology, it's so funny. I was talking to my publishers a few weeks ago and I said something to them and I was like, well, I don't believe in astrology. And they're like, what, ma'am? Because we just, invested a little bit of money in getting your book out in the world. I'm like, what do you mean you don't believe in astrology? I'm like, I guess it's just funny. I have other spiritual beliefs that are far more abstract and I'm talking to my spirit guides and working with crystals and things that I'm like, that I could almost see people being a little bit more like, what are you doing? Astrology to me has just been this system and a tool that has worked in like innumerable ways to change my life for the better, my family's life, my client's life. So after a while, it's like kind of saying like, do you believe in Pilates? I'm like, well, it works or it doesn't, right? Like for me, it's worked for so long. And I find a lot of people who either don't believe in astrology or don't, understand it. It's just they haven't really experienced it through the lens of a high integrity, either astrologer or there's a lot of like any industry, right? There's a lot of BS on the internet. There's a lot of stuff that's meant to cause up fear or, that's just sort of reductive or blah, right? Like that's just like junk food astrology. Sometimes it's fun to dabble in, but we don't nourish ourselves with that. The kind of astrology that I, had the blessing to be exposed to from a young age. My aunt was very into numerology, astrology, tarot, and she really just taught me. It's like, these are just tools of self-realization, understanding yourself so you can know yourself, so you can trust yourself, so you can love yourself and get out of those traps of comparison, self-doubt, all that stuff. Am I doing something wrong? Am I not like, I'm not perfect, but I live a life that is very grounded, open, and clear because I just know myself. I know my obstacles, my opportunities. I know my strengths. I know my like pratfalls, my shadows, and I can like just show up really fully in myself because of that. And I like to tell people, I'm like, if you're new to astrology, go read about like your moon sign because your moon sign is the key to unlocking your inner world, and it's such a beautiful gateway into coming home to yourself and understanding yourself differently and knowing like, oh, that's why I'm like that, or really helping yourself articulate maybe your needs, wants, desires, or the things that are like true self-care to you.
Let me stop you for 1 second. So if you're a listener and you don't understand what astrology is, because some people I don't think do, they think of like a lady like with like a crystal ball and like a headpiece, like a headscarf. I personally, and my listeners know this, I will take what I believe in signs. I believe in all of this stuff. I also believe like in, spirituality and religion and all of these things as well. But I think all of them go in conjunction together. But what I would like to know is if you're a listener of mine and you don't understand what astrology is, can you tell people what it means?
Break it down. Let's go. Okay. So astrologos, the root of the word is literally the wisdom, the logic of the cosmos, the stars. So we are studying where the planets are in the sky in certain moments in time. The thing that you're most probably used to hearing about is a birth chart, is literally a map. It's a blueprint of your soul, a snapshot in the sky the moment you were born. So Meghan, we would, pop your, the only reason I can do this nowadays is because we have fantastic software. Shout out to astrologers who did it like before computers, before apps. It was a very mathematical, very scientific actually approach. Now it's that, but it's also very intuitive. It's an art form. So we would look at this snapshot of the sky in the moment you were born. and you have planets in the sky. So your sun sign is probably what most people here are familiar with. That's when we say like, what's your sign, baby? Tell me your sign, or like, don't date a Virgo. I'm a Virgo, so I'll call myself out. We're talking about a sun sign. That means that the sun, the moment you took your first breath, the sun was in alignment with the Virgo constellation in the sky. Mm-hmm. And I like to tell people, if you're new to this, go and download. They have these beautiful sky apps where you can see the constellations at night, right? And like hold your phone up. It really helps you visualize what we're talking about because it'll show you Venus in the sky. And then it'll show you Venus right now is moving through the constellation of Scorpio. So if someone was born right now, it's like they would have a Venus in Scorpio. And Venus, every planet, I like to say, is like a role you're casting in a movie. So back to, LA, back to entertainment. It's like we've all watched a movie before. So your birth chart is this understanding of who you are, where every planet was the moment you took your first breath. And each of those planets is a role that you're casting. So your sun sign could be like the lead actor, lead actress. The Venus might be your romantic interest. The Mercury sign might be the chatty best friend, but they're all holding like a role in your life to help you understand how to live your life more fully, how to be more of yourself. And then you cast a role for each of those. So you cast an actor or actress, and that's where the zodiac comes into play. So you might say your sun is in Aries. Your Venus, your love interest is in, Sagittarius, and all these things mean something for you in your life. And there's an archetypal energy. And that's what my book, I kind of wrote it for people who are like maybe astro skeptical or cosmically curious. Because I think one of the hardest things about astrology to get people on board with, not only are they picturing the like head wrap and the, like crystal ball and like someone trying to like, whatever, divinate some weird information for you. It's also just like, it's a whole new language to understand, right? So there's just sort of this like barrier to entry where like you lost me at Uranus and Neptune, or a conjunction. Like, what do these words mean, right? When you hear an astrologer talk. But the truth of the matter is that your birth chart is like your user manual, and the sky is really telling you a story that can help you understand who you are, what you're here to do, how you're meant to live like your fullest, most brilliant life and expression. And I'm very passionate about interpreting that for people and making it what I hope to be a little bit more digestible, accessible, and fun. So does that like any questions off of what I just said?
I love
it's
that.
A lot.
No, I love it. And I believe in it, but I still like, it's something I never really, so many people are like, what is your sign? Like, especially, I live in LA, right? So like, everyone's like, especially all the young people, they're like, what is his sign? Oh, I could never date him because he's he's like a Leo. Yeah. And so it's kind of hard. I know I personally am a Sagittarius. My husband's a Sagittarius. I know like bits and pieces. And I know like if you explain what my sign is, I usually fit it to a T. But I don't really understand anything more than that. Somebody's getting upset.
I'm gonna go hand. So my hands him over because I also want to have my hands free because I want to. I think pull up your chart.
Okay, perfect.
I want to see everything. I'm just gonna put this down for 1 second.
That's okay. Everyone, she's coming right back.
All right. Thank you for that. Breastfeeding babies.
Anytime, this is a first. And like I said, it's my favorite first I've ever had in all of the years of doing this. I love babies and I want one. And I know I can never have one until I'm a grandma again. And I will not be called a grandma, by the way. I'm just going to add that in.
We'll have a much cuter
cooler name. Yeah. I've already actually planned my grandma name because that's how I roll. And it's Jaja.
God.
It's Jaja.
That is so fab. That's so
Isn't
fab.
That cute? I love it.
It's like also easy to say. I feel like no matter where someone's at.
Jaja Gabor.
It's like Jaja Gabor, but it's like, obviously now I'm around, like I have an 18-month-old and like their words, they're forming their sounds. Jaja, they're going to say that before anyone else's name. Okay.
Because I'm very smart. I'm in tune with my
strategic. You're so strategic.
Let's go back to the signs. Okay. And P.S. let's just add for the audience, you have an 18-month-old and A 5-month-old. So for that alone, I want to give you kudos because that's a lot of work. A lot of work.
Yes, making that Murphy name proud with the Irish twin.
I was an Irish twin.
You were Irish. Okay, well, God bless. Yeah, your mother, your parents, the caretakers, because it's like it's so much fun, but it's full on. It's full on.
Yeah.
Like, and we'll talk about. I think I accidentally like manifested too hard with my
having babies. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I just want a baby. I want a baby. I made all these vision boards. And then I was like, okay, yeah, like my baby's coming. I feel it. And like, yes. And then, as my baby came, it was amazing. So beautiful, a miracle. I was so happy. Cause again, like I was 37, 38 when I was trying.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if I would ever get to be a mother. And I had made this vision board using like some of the practices that I love with my clients. And then
you manifested it. I believe in those vision boards, by the way.
Oh yeah. But be careful what you put on them, because I realized after I found out I was pregnant with my second son, by the way, I found out at like 4 months being pregnant because my body was so postpartum. I didn't know what was what. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, I'm pregnant and this baby is due like in December. And this was like end of July. I was like, okay, cool. But then I went back to my vision board and I realized I had a little baby in a bassinet on the beach, like a picture I found from Pinterest that I loved, but a little toddler like leaning over the bassinet.
Oh my God.
Careful.
Take the picture off the vision board, because then you'll have two more.
My husband's like, and now we can refresh the vision board, right?
It's
I'm like,
true.
yes, we're refresh.
No, but I'm happy you brought that up, because manifesting is all part of this kind of thing in life.
It's
what
all
we
part of
manifest, the negative energy, all of this stuff, it stays with us. And I would love for you to talk about my sign and pull up my chart, like you said. But I do have a question, because I would love to know. I'll let you pull this up, but I feel like I know this is off topic, but maybe you can tell me why I feel this way. There is a person that every time or people, like several people, I believe in like past lives and that kind of stuff. I know not 100%. Everybody does, but there's this person and I'm always like, I see them. They drive me nuts. I don't know why. They have never personally done anything to me, but it's like every time I see them, I get like annoyed. Is this like something having to do with like sign? And this just happened yesterday. So that's why I'm trying to figure this out. Because I don't also like being a mean person. And I know I talk about all the time how heavily flawed I am, but maybe you can pull up the chart and we can like put a pin in that question and go back to it.
Let's do that. I'm actually already like picking up on some stuff. So partly of the work I do too, and people listening might relate to this, but you sound very like intuitive as a person, like you're in tune with energies that are not beyond what we see with our five senses, right? Whether that's energy or vibes or just like nudges or certain like signs that speak to you. And I always found that way too. And astrology has just been another great tool of kind of affirming. Like right now, as you're talking, I'm sort of getting a few hits of like what could be going on. And then astrology is sort of like checking like the math or checking like, helping me articulate it a little bit better. So, okay, if you don't mind, do you want to put, I don't like, if you don't want to share your birth information with everyone, do you want to drop it in the chat, or do you want to tell me, we can start with where you were born?
Okay. So everyone, I just gave her where I was born, date, and all of the information, and don't get offended, but I don't want to give that much information on the podcast. So Maddie, share what you were going to share.
Well, first of all, I'm going to say she looks amazing. Drop the links to your whole skincare routine. You said you're older than me. I'm like, yeah, okay. But then I was like, oh, damn. Okay, this is definitely some like, I don't know. Maybe you're the one into like the woo woo, the witchcraft. No. But you look amazing. Also, because you know what? You have a fantastic energy and spirit. And actually, part of your birth chart that I'm looking at right now, you have signifiers in your chart of like really eternal youthful energy. And I can get into that in a second.
Okay.
But okay, so you shared something just now with me about like this feeling of something being off with someone and seeing someone. And while you were talking, I was like, let me guess, like she has got to have something going on in Scorpio or Cancer in the chart. So you're a Sag, right? And that's the thing, is that is one part. It's like one note in a song. I think there's a lot going on, right? Like there's one instrument, maybe you might hear that the most in a song, but there's so many other things at play that make that song a bop, that make that song a banger. And so for you, you are a Sag sun, but you have all these other signs. And this is why when the youngins in LA and the young kids or whoever bash a sign, I say, you better stop that, because one of the fun facts of astrology is that we actually carry all 12 signs of the zodiac within us. Like our zodiac wheel is a 360 expression that we carry every single archetype of these 12 zodiac signs. So if you're bashing a Scorpio or a Gemini or a Leo, guess what? If you go deeper, you have that in your chart somewhere, and chances are it's very important. It might help you understand yourself more and like why you're not getting along with those other signs. So in this case, when you said something, I was like, okay, there's one sign in the zodiac that is the investigator, that is the one that sniffs things out, that really can suss out like when the vibes are not immaculate, when the vibes are off. And that's Scorpio. And you have Mercury, your planet of communications, of messenger, of how you like see the like your computer system, how you like take in information, how you share information, is in Scorpio. And then it's in like a very psychic part of your chart.
Okay.
So meaning that you are the queen of nonverbal communications. You are the number one susser of suspect and sketchy energy, like from a mile away. My sister has this. If she tells me something is off with someone, I trust her. Like no questions asked, because.
But I've always been right too. I'm always right about
it's always
people.
Right.
I'm always right. And they could be all different ages, but I'm always like, what is this? Because I'm not I'm not mean. Like, or I can be mean. I take that back. I can be a big giant bitch. There's a lot of people that can tell you that about me. But I also know, like at night, I'm up at night, like thinking about like, why was I mean? Why does this person bother me? What's wrong with me that I feel this way? I always have this like weird feeling, and it makes me angry at myself that I feel this way. So I'll just say that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's do a little exercise and just releasing that. So you have your Mercury is in Scorpio. So for you, one of the ways that you were born, one of your gifts to share with this world is the way that you see and process things. I'm going to rattle some things off for you. You are the archetype that in your communications, and this is why I love how literal astrology is, because you have a podcast. So your Mercury is quite literally like your microphone, your megaphone in your chart. So you are here to speak about and on very Scorpio themed things. Scorpio deals with a few realms, but one of them that I am the most strongly like passionate about talking on is Scorpio teaches other people how to not be ashamed. Scorpio teaches us how to take our power back. Scorpio is not afraid to go there, to talk about the uncomfortable things. And I know things you talk about in this podcast, trauma, and the things, the wounds that we carry, but not just like how we sit in them. Scorpio is the transformer. Scorpio is the alchemist. Scorpio takes lead and turns it into gold. Scorpio says, if you like stand with me on this ride and we go places that a lot of people don't want to go, this is not superficial, this is not the shallow end. If you go with me here, I will help you turn this lead into gold, right? And I will hold your hand through the process, but we have to go there. And so one of your gifts in life is to do that, is to talk about the uncomfortable things, is to talk about the things that have like taboo around them, the things that like, can trigger things like shame, but be like, the only way we clear that is bringing it into the open. And letting it have a new energy, go through a transformative journey. Again, Mercury through your talking, through what you're studying, through what you're thinking about. So we all have like in our chart, one thing will offer us gifts, but another part of it, like that same thing can also offer us things that we have to learn. So the Mercury in Scorpio, you might have to learn a little bit about like almost, like knowing when it can just rest, and knowing when it can just be like, you know what, we went to the deep end a bunch today. Now you actually can. It's nighttime. We're sleeping. You can splash around the shallow end, or you're very sensitive to other people's energies. So someone like you might really benefit from having an end of the day ritual that just helps cut all the cords, clean the slate, unhook from everyone's energy, even the people we love, like just unhooking from that. So you can just go to sleep and recharge as you're meant to, right? Because it's like your investigative mind and all that energy is sort of like exploring all those tethers from the day.
So I understand. So if I'm a Sagittarius, I have a lot of Mercury and Scorpio. Like, is that like a rising sign? Like everyone says it's my rising sign. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Okay. So I love this. This is so fun. So on this journey of your birth chart, when people talk the most about astrology, they talk about the sun sign. That's your sign. We said, what's your sign? Then the next thing people talk about a lot is what's your big three? So your big three is sort of like the cornerstone, the like core DNA of your chart, your core personality in your day to day. That is your sun, your outer world, who you present as, who you're here to be, how a lot of people might see you. And for you in that case, it's Sag. So everything I just said about Scorpio energy, that's how your brain works. That's how your mind works. That's your Mercury. We'll get back to that in a minute. But your essence is very Sag, right? You're the storyteller. Sag is very optimistic. Sag is hilarious. Sag is very optimistic. Sag is like a visionary. Sag likes to explore, try new things. And Sag is usually here to inspire others through their story, through their experiences.
I mean, you have that on the nose. Thank you very much. I think this podcast is over. I'm joking.
Thank you. And she's hot too, okay?
No. But okay, let me ask too, because we're on this topic. And again, I'm like, it's all about me, everyone. But I have a lot of listeners. They could be single. They could be looking for their partner. They could be vision boarding a partner. Okay. Male, female, whatever like you identify with, but you're looking for a partner. Should you focus, like they say, on the signs? So my husband is a Sagittarius. He is 1 day apart, actually 2 days apart from me, one year older. And we just mesh really well. I mean, we hate each other sometimes, like I talk about, but I believe in soulmates. I think we truly are. So tell me about that, like for people that focus on like the sign. Like, is that important?
Yes. So, okay. So back to your big three, just to finish that out. So your sun, your moon is your inner world. And then your rising is sort of like your aura, how people perceive you. And so these three kind of are who you are every day. Now it does tie into, compatibility. So I'm sort of like, probably like you, everything I say in my industry is not the like common. I'm like, no, I'm like, when someone says they won't date a sign, I'm like, that's ridiculous because it doesn't make sense. Like there's good, I think we've all met, think of any sign in your head right now, right? Think of a Libra. I'm sure we've all met a fantastic Libra and we've all met a shitty Libra, right? I'm a Virgo. I've met like Virgos I love and Virgos that I'm like, you drive me crazy, right? And it's like, so one, we're always in charge of how we live our chart. Like your birth chart, your sign is never an excuse or a permission slip to be an asshole, to be a dick. It's still up to us to do the work. But we do find in the chart clarity. We find stuff that we do have permission on. Like I work with a lot of people on discovering their purpose and they have so much validation hearing like, oh, I have stuff in my chart that I'm meant to be an artist, or that I'm meant to be a business person. And then they can like go do it, right? And the same thing with a relationship. I would say to anyone listening, if you're single, before you worry about someone else's sign, worry about your own sign and your own chart. Because then you could look and see, okay, like Meghan's chart. Oh, we have a moon and Venus in Capricorn. So for you, it's like you need a partner who you can have fun with, who you can vision with, who you can build something with, who can be really stable for you, who can be like, okay, like you have a lot in your chart. I'm, so curious to hear your whole entire life story at some point, but like you really want to like build something like the moon in Capricorn, Venus in Capricorn, and you value quality over quantity. Like you rather have a few good people in your corner than have like a bajillions of friends. You really have, whether it's things in your home, like nice things versus like a ton of just cheap things that aren't going to last. Like you like things that stand the test of time. But moon in Capricorn is you can be kind of hard on yourself, right? And there's an old soul energy there. So you do need someone who can help remind you to have fun, who can be like, you know what, you're doing great. Let's put down the work for the day and go enjoy a sunshine and like, drink a beverage of choice in said sunshine, right? So when we can go deeper in our own chart, we can know, like for you, I think it'd be very hard for you to be with someone who didn't care about or want to build a nice life for themselves, have goals, ambition. I'm not talking about anything that has to be like material, but just something that they're working towards. So if you don't understand that about yourself and you keep dating people who are aimless or are latching onto your success and things aren't working, yes, it has to do with them. Mm-hmm. But I would say the common denominator is you, and understanding in your chart what your non-negotiables are can help you just be so much more clear with your yeses and your nos. And anybody who's ever done energy work or manifestation, once you understand that, you can get into alignment. And then what happens, the fun part, things just start attracting to you. You're like, oh, it's less about like sifting through everything. It's like things just start coming my way because I'm so clear. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. But is there like, so when the astrology is all connected, is it like things could still be blocked because you're going after the wrong things? I mean, I'm somebody, again, I believe in doing Reiki. I believe in all of these things that's going to like clear our energy and blocks that we have as people. I think that astrology kind of like piggybacks into that stuff, correct?
100%, because like Reiki is a beautiful way to keep your energy field clear and open. And astrology, again, especially like the way I use it, it's a tool. People use it different ways. I'm a much more spiritual, intuitive astrologer where I work with people to figure out like, yeah, how can we kind of get out of our own way? Like with so many of my clients, like they doubt their gifts, they doubt their worthiness, and we can look in the chart and really start to understand and articulate, okay, maybe that's why I'm feeling that way. And now I can do something about it. Oh, that's a pattern I'm in. Now I can choose a more aligned path, or I can figure out, I didn't even know what I was like feeling or what I want next, but I can kind of see it. It's just this map. It's a blueprint for understanding yourself better. And from the biggest thing for me is it really is so you can have more compassion with yourself and more love for yourself. I think it's very hard to, everyone talks about self-love. How can you love someone that you don't know? Mm-hmm. And I think astrology is this literal love letter from the cosmos to you of like, hey, Meghan, no one else came here with this exact imprint. Here's your love letter. Here's your user manual. Here's your blueprint. Like, get to know yourself and really like fall in love with that journey and stop thinking that, yeah, something is wrong with me because I need this, or that, you know, this thing happened to me, therefore I messed up my whole, no, it's all this like beautiful exploration of yourself. And for me, I used to think things like, I have a lot of stuff in my chart that's opposite. So I'm artistic, but I'm analytical. You know, I'm entrepreneurial, but I like, you know, I want to have a business, but I'm free spirited. I'm attached to my home and family values, but I'm also super progressive and out. Like, I didn't understand, like, who am I? Like, nothing makes sense. No label fits. And by understanding my birth chart, I'm like, oh, I am all of those things. I'm a study of opposites. And now that I can just accept that, I can accept myself and now move forward and actually have fun in life and, you know, trust the alignment. So a lot of it is about self-knowledge, self-acceptance, and then having fun. What happens when you live in alignment. And that's what my book, The Cosmic Zone, is like, what happens when you get there? When you start living in alignment, it's like, whoa.
Okay. So before we go into the book, I love what you just said. And I think it's so important, like, just to kind of say, like, I always say piggyback. It's so weird. I don't know who taught me this word. I'm like, am I in a weird business meeting in a boardroom? Like, I don't know why I say it all the time. I always say it on the podcast. I'm like, just to piggyback on what you were saying. And I'm like, I don't know why I say that all the time because I don't say it in my regular life. But I was going to say this. See, my chart was right. I am funny.
You're so funny. You are funny. You're funny.
I'm joking. I was going to say that it all kind of reminds me of, and again, I'll bring up like aging and figuring this stuff out about your life, is that we're all here for a reason. I think we're here as a test. And at the end of our lives, this is just what I believe. We've kind of completed all the tests. And I think the biggest gift that you can give yourself in life as a human being is like really learning about yourself and why things happen and things you need to work on. Like I told you a couple of minutes ago, I hate this about myself that I can be mean. I don't like that I pick up on energies and I immediately shut down with certain people. That a lot of that is my backstory, but it's also like I think it's astrology related. It has to be. But to know, like you said, a love letter to ourselves, like what the negative speak that I tend to do still is not doing anything except putting negative energy on myself that I'm going to have to clear out, you know? And it's really important that we learn to talk to ourselves more kindly, to understand why we do things. And then, you know, we're only here for such a short time. Like live it up, like live your life, do the best you can, find different tools. This is a great one, I think.
Exactly. I agree with everything. Could not co-sign on that piggyback more.
Well, that's because you're Irish and you get me. Okay, so let me ask you. Okay, so now we're going to go into the book, and I want you to tell me why exactly you wrote the book. And you said bringing this into your own life, like whether it be career, whether it be like making decisions, whatever they are. I think right now with all the hard, horrible things going on, I'm going to say in our country, but just in the world, I think that this kind of stuff is so important to tap into right now, right?
100%. And, you know, I guess I'll start with that of like, even the why now of writing this book, the astrology that we are in and that I have been kind of seeing ahead, because there's our personal astrology, like Meghan's chart, Maddie's chart, but there's astrology that follows like cycles of history. And so we return to certain moments and we can learn from that and be like, oh, we are back in this moment. And starting in 2017, 2018, I started studying that. And I was like, oh, 2020 is bringing some really big, it was bringing like paradigm shifting forever. We're never going back astrology. So I was like, what does that mean? And some of my teachers started talking about we need new ways of being, new leadership, like everything was going to change after 2020. And then right now we're in the astrology of many things, but the French Revolution being one of them. And there's an actual revolution at play and it's going to carry out.
Is it bad? Is it going to get better? Help.
I know. So many of my friends are like, yeah. But like, is this going to get better? Okay.
Is it getting better? Like, just please be honest.
Yes.
Like, we can't take much more. Go ahead.
Well, you know, here's the truth of it. It is going to get better, but it's, you know, it's going to move at sometimes, but some moments it's going to feel like a glacial pace and other moments it's going to feel like we're in a freaking vortex or like screaming down the highway going a million miles an hour, like what's happening. And the full cycle of it does take until 2044 to play out. So it's not an overnight cure.
I won't even be here. I don't want that to happen. I want it to be good while I'm still here.
But it will be. And the thing is...
Oh, maybe I will still be here. Okay, go on.
You will. I'm like, honey, come on. Also, you're like, everyone has a role. This moment in astrology is about us coming together. It's not about like a few people or a few like, you know, brilliant minds or politicians or business leaders. Like they're not coming to save us. This astrology is literally about the us. And it's very like non-hierarchical. Like I don't care your education, your experience. It's everyone has something to like bring to this moment. And that's why I talk about this in the book. I was like, I need you, like Meghan, showing up free of all the labels and the conditioning and the fear and the imprints and the expectations and all of like just the bullshit that keeps you from being you. I need you in your freest expression so you can figure out whatever that is, whether it's an offering you're bringing to our collective by way of a podcast, art, business, or just being, you know, a parent in your full expression and showing up regulated and grounded and healed and clear for your children, or just showing up and not passing on all of your unhealed shit to everyone else, which is how we got in this mess. So I'm like, I need everyone like in this place of the cosmic zone, because I'm like, it's something that is so important for you living your best life, but it's truly like part of what we're building right now is that we're all a part of it. It's not going to be like, you know, a few select people changing the world. And, you know, with why I wrote the book, it's really a journey into understanding. What I found from astrology is I love it, but I'm not a science girly. I am not a math girly. I am a storyteller. I am an artist. I am like neurodivergent, ADHD all over the place.
Oh, hi. So, we're the same person. Go ahead.
Hi. You are me. I am you.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I started getting into all of this, especially astrology, everyone, there was sort of this like academic gatekeeping aspect of like, oh, well, this and this and all this theory and all this like number. And I was just like, this is cool. But my most impactful readings that I've received or given are about like this journey that we're on the soul level and the story that we're here, like the story that we came in with and the tools we have to rewrite our story at any moment, but understanding that we have everything we need within us at any given moment. But how do we access that? What does that mean for us? And that you're Meghan, like we all have the same palette, but maybe like how your medium is different than mine, right? If we're making a painting or making an art form. So how do I understand that in the same breath, you and I are exactly the same. Like we're like humans, we have the same aspects of our birth chart, but we're also wholly unique, right? Of like in our expression of it. And so what do we do with that information? When I look at anyone around me doing something where I'm like, you're not better than me, you're not worse than me. But it is up to me to like live out my chart in my own way. Like you said, we come here, we're like in this earth school, we have this assignment, and I want to help people live in more alignment, but I want them to understand. They pick up my book. You could read this just like a self-help book. You could just, what page should I read? Open to any page. I wrote it of like the journey of what they call the zodiac journey of like human evolution. All 12 signs represent our journey of people. So it's like, it starts with Aries and it goes through Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sag, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. These aren't just like abstract, you know, memes and thoughts about astrology. They represent this story of human evolution. And like each one of those archetypes kind of carries what I have found with my clients of like every single problem you're working through as a human.
Yeah.
And a solution for that. And I was like, why do people like know about this? Like, it's not just about, you know, this sign shouldn't date this sign, or Uranus is conjunct Neptune in the 12th house, where it's like, I don't know what that means. There is a very like simple medicine in astrology. And my hope and my intention, you know, Lord knows, we'll see if it lands with people, is like that this book just be a guide for you on this wild ride of being a human, so you could understand yourself a little bit more. So if you could turn to the Sagittarius chapter and just be like, okay, every chapter is broken down with what the energy is of that zodiac sign, the archetypal energy, when and why you might want to use it and being more in tune with that, like what problems it solve in your life. We also talk about when to shelve it, because every sign can go too far. Every sign has a shadow. Sagittarius is optimistic. We can have too much optimism. Like we can be in that place of like, actually, it's time for some pragmatism right now, right? Or we can bypass over things that are I have a lot of Sag in my chart. And so I'm like, I can bypass over something when it's uncomfortable. And like, that's not really right. Like we have to go into it. So we talk about what the energy is, when to use it, how to access it, when to shelve it. And then I just break down, because I like making things accessible for people, real life practices and tools, rituals, self-care things, mindset tips that people can bring into their everyday life if they want to work with that energy more clearly. So again, you could read your chart and be like, oh, I have a Mercury in Scorpio. Let me go to the Scorpio chapter to understand how my mind works better. Or you could just read the book chapter by chapter, or open up to a random page. My hope is just that people can see themselves and their potential in each chapter, in each archetype, and have a little bit of a clear understanding of how that energy wants to work with them, so they can live in this place of alignment, clarity, ease, and self-trust.
One thing I was going to say is I was, thank God I just met Maddie through my friend Beth, who's a publicist. And thankfully, so last minute I had a opening and she said, you have to meet Maddie. You guys are supposed to meet, which I believe that, by the way. But I didn't get a chance to get a copy of your book, but I was kind of doing like a little bit of research on it. And there was a specific, I think, a testimonial about how the person thought like it might be really hokey, but you ended up like really being able to help guide and help that person with, I think it was like a career decision. Can you kind of talk about that as we kind of close?
Absolutely. So, there's a famous astrologer, Pamela Gregory, and she talks about astrology is not a choice maker, it's a choice enhancer. So I want to also preface this by saying astrology is not here to tell you, ooh, something bad is coming and it's locked in stone, or that like a fortune telling, like this is the way it is. It's not that. It's understanding. I think we all can relate to, as a human, especially if anyone here listening, a woman, a mom, we have endless choices to make about big and small. And astrology is a choice enhancer where you can really understand, I'm feeling really blocked. Like I want to make a choice. I want to make a new career pivot. I want to understand, should I live in a big city, or a small farm with my family? Like these questions that we have. And when we look at our chart, two things happen. We can, first of all, I believe energetically, the fact that you're slowing down and wanting to understand yourself on a higher level, the universe and, whatever people want to call it, God, source, spirit, rewards that of like, good, you're paying attention. Like the kid in class, good, you care. Now let's open up some clarity. So you're looking at your chart and you're understanding who you are, and you're understanding like, okay, all these are good options, but there are some that are just going to be better for me in this moment in time that I'm in. And there is a real like hard, like receipt, like evidence that comes from that. You're like, oh, okay, great. Like, and I kind of knew that because a lot of times we know the right decision for us, but it's just covered up with all of these, like, I should do this, or these fears, or these worries, or this is what my parents expect, or this is what my husband wants from me. And we kind of ignore that like gut check feeling. And I always say I'm a successful astrologer because nothing I say is a surprise to people. They're like, thank you. I just needed that validation. I needed that planetary permission slip, I call it. Like I already knew I wanted to do that, but now I see it. So that is the first thing that happens that can help you with this career choice, these big decisions you're making about your life. And then the second thing is, like I said, your birth chart is a blueprint. It's a user manual. When I help guide people to living in more alignment with that, it's like anything. Have you ever, I don't read directions on things. I will try and use something, an appliance in my house, and just be like, bam, bam, why is this not working? Like, send this thing back. This is a POS. Like, I hate this thing.
It's because we have ADHD. I can't. No, I'm the same exact way.
I can't be bothered.
And I feel like I take shortcuts and they always explode in my face.
They explode, and it makes it 10 times longer, and then it sits there, and I think it's like broken for like a month, and then I decide to pick up the user manual, and I'm like, oh, okay, oh, this goes here, oh, this has to be charged, oh, this, and then I'm like, now it's moving, now it's working. It's the same thing for us as humans. Why am I trying to live the same morning routine as my husband? My husband has a completely different birth chart. He can get up. He is not neurodivergent. He does things in his day. And if I try to live his life, I would think I was a busted appliance. Okay. I would be like, no, she is not working. Return to sender, return to Amazon. And because I understand my unique divine design, I can operate at my highest self, right? My most optimized self. So when those two things together, right? Now you have the validation of what you already know you're feeling, and you read your user manual, things start to flow, baby. And that's what, like, I love hearing that from people, like what that person wrote.
I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with you. I love you. We're very similar in so many ways. And I love that. I love that we're both Irish. Like I said, I always love meeting a fellow Irish woman that's fair skin, same color hair, same coloring. I don't know. We get each other.
We get each other. I'm like, send me your makeup recs for our pink undertones because you look great. And your skin looks amazing, by the way.
Well, like I said, I love that Wise Beauty, and I'm not a sponsor of them. They're not a sponsor of the podcast. I mean, but I really love her line. Okay. So in closing, where can people find you?
People can find me at The Cosmic RX. RX is like prescription, is my business account, my astrology account. We post a ton of free resources, content. I have a podcast, Cosmic RX Radio, where people can tune in to get the weekly astrological weather. Start there. Have so much fun. You can find me at I am Madi Murphy. If you want to go on my personal, that's just all pictures of my dogs, my kids, and my husband. But start there, and in there I have links for the book, for any kind of way you want to go deeper.
How do people get the book? The book's out right now.
The book comes out July 29th, my dad's birthday, synchronicity. Perfect. But is available for pre-order anywhere you buy books, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your local, and it's called In the Cosmic Zone. And it is my love letter and my guide to helping you live in alignment with your highest and hottest self. So if that sounds good to you, let's get on board.
Love you to pieces. Thank you, Beth, for sending me this wonderful soul. Everyone, I'm so grateful to you. If you have a quick second and you don't mind picking up your phone, your device, wherever you're listening, YouTube, please leave me a review. I'm not great about asking, and I would really love it if you would. You can do it on Apple. I think there's 3 dots at the top, or you can scroll all the way to the bottom and just write a review. If it's not going to be nice, don't do it. And I'm always so grateful to all my listeners. Thank you so, so much. Everyone, keep going. You matter. Your story matters. Thanks, Madi.
Thank you for having me.
Judging Meghan with Meghan Judge.